Welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. Coming up on today's episode, Forest will be staying at the City Ground. The capacity for the new stadium has been confirmed. Yilmaz linked with Forest from Galatasaray, and we are rent-free in Slot's head still. All this and plenty more coming up today on your latest Forest news. Let's get into it. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. We got a lot to talk about, and in specific, the City Ground. But before we do, please don't forget, double check you've hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you are new. And check out this new football prizes one. Surely we will want Jessica to win this. It's a signed framed Cristiano Ronaldo top. You can get an Insta prize win of Matt Sells, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and of course the masterclass himself, Nuno. Scan this QR code here or click on the link that's pinned in the comment. Jessica, good luck. And shout out to Jessica for becoming our first Patreon member. Thank you, Jessica. If you guys want to support us on Patreon and help us expand, the link's down in the description as well. Okay, let's jump into the news and let's start with the City Ground. Okay, so there was a fans advisory board completed by Forest the other day, FAB, frickin' Thunderbird style. And an update was provided by Tom Cartledge on what was happening with the City Ground. And he has said that in principle, an agreement has been reached on the freehold, and Forest, in essence, will be staying at the world famous. Let me give you a couple of quotes from what he said, and my voice is still not 100%. But this was based on the notes that they released. It says Tom Cartledge provided an update on both new and ongoing stadium development plans, as well as the work completed over the summer. The club has agreed in principle to purchase the freehold of the stadium and surrounding properties, which will facilitate the overall development process. A Section 106 agreement, whatever the hell that is, for the redevelopment of the Peter Taylor stand is now in place. The club is actively exploring the acquisition of additional freehold properties to streamline the development. The proposed redevelopment would increase the stadium's capacity to 42,000. Now, let's take a pause there and talk about a few of those things. So firstly, if you remember back, the initial proposal was about 38,000. We're going back to 2019. So they found 4K extra in the seats to make it 42,000. I personally would have liked them to figure out how to get to 50K. But for me, the good news is he is publicly now admitting that in principle, an agreement is reached on the freehold with the council, the city council, all those people who are involved. And it's going to be the Peter Taylor stand that they look to increase the capacity on. So if I just carry on some other stuff here, discussions are ongoing regarding the relocations of supporters if the Peter Taylor stand closes for redevelopment. The club is exploring options to minimize disruption or whether or not it would be possible to have the lower tier of seating operational before the full completion of the stand. This is, again, something they were talking about many moons ago, that they would develop here as a kind of ongoing thing. Close one section off, keep the other open, and then flip it around, etc. There was talks about having the lower open and keeping the upper closed, so on and so forth. That sounds like what they want to do on this one. So there are good points here. That one, obviously, was staying at the City Ground. They are redeveloping it to a capacity that I think is just borderline acceptable for me. I would have liked 50K. Maybe they don't feel they can get 50K in. I would argue I think we could. But there's no real start date on this. And I'm going to be old school on this. I'll believe it when I see it, man. We've been hearing about this for what, 5-6 years now? Let's just get on, break freaking foundations on, get our first spade in and get it going. So that's what he's saying on that. He says the club are delighted with the changes implemented over the course of the summer, including safe standing and additional seating in the Bridgeford Lower, the Brian Clough stand and the Peter Taylor stand. That's the safe seating that's come up. The other thing they're talking about is reducing the gap between the away fans and the home fans to increase capacity, which I think makes sense. But to be honest, I would move the away fans anyway. I hate it when they score a goal down the Bridgeford end and then you just see the away fans cheer. Just shove them in a corner somewhere, maybe outside the stadium. I don't know. Go back to what we did against Millwall. So they're going to reduce that to increase capacity. So I don't think they're going to get 4K out of that gap increase. So it'll be interesting to see where they get this additional capacity from the original proposed 38,000. He goes on to say significant progress is being made overall, with the repurposed shipping containers hospitality area expected to open for the Fulham game. Now that's what we told you about 2 months ago. Those would be ready for the third home game of the season. So I don't like those shipping containers, I'll be honest with you. Until I see them complete, I guess then I'll make my mind up. But they look like an eyesore to me. We believe the capacity within that is going to be 180. It's not huge, it's corporate exec. Some of the prices I've seen on that are eye-watering, man. Like 600 quid per for the Liverpool game, I think it was, and so on. So anyway, it is what it is. They're temporary. Hopefully they won't be staying long term. I still think personally, for me, you're staying at the City Ground, do the Peter Taylor stand again. I'm fully on board with that. It needs a full modernization on that. Just fill in the corners, man. Like, just close it from being a ground into a stadium. And I think it would look really good. It just feels a bit kind of all put together. So that's the update on the stadium. Now, there was some other couple of things he was saying about the acquisition of freeholds around the land. Initially, there was this whole planned proposal back in 2019 where they wanted hotels. They wanted to make it like a mini park thing, a complex where there's going to be other attractions and people can stay, book hotels and what have you. I don't know what's happening with that stuff. That might be what he's talking about there with some of the freeholds they're looking to acquire in and around the City Ground. I don't know, but it's exciting news. We're finally seeing some progress, but I'll believe it when I see it. Get on with it, Tom. Start the redevelopment. Let's do it. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know down below. All right, just before we talk about the new player linked, yes, I know the transfer window is closed, but this is Forest. We buy when we want, who we want. Let me just talk to you about our good mate, Dr. Evil Arne Slot, who we are still living rent-free in the mind of. For those of you who may not be aware, Liverpool played in the Champions League yesterday. They went away to AC Milan and they went 1-0 down. And then they carried on and I think they won 3-1, I think it was. But Arne Slot still wanted to talk about the famous team, the best team in the world, Forest. And this is what he said. He said, losing Saturday was a blow. And to be 1-0 down early tonight, you are wondering how we will react. But if you can play so good, it is, I wouldn't say a disgrace. Unbelievable you lose to Forest at home if you can play like this today. It's unbelievable, Slot, that you lose to Forest. Well, believe it, my friend, because it happened. This just tells you one thing. Forest are better than Liverpool, and now Forest are better than AC Milan because we beat Liverpool and AC Milan lost to Liverpool. So by literal maths there, Forest are better than both those clubs. So Slot, get over it. It's happened. Move on. Focus on whoever Liverpool have got next. But I'm enjoying us living rent-free in your mind. Welcome to the Premier League, mate. This ain't the Dutch League. This is where the big boys play. So shut up and move on because you look like an idiot. Okay, so let's talk about some transfer news. And this one isn't going to be till the winter transfer, but apparently Forest are being linked to Yilmaz from Galatasaray. The 24-year-old winger, who predominantly plays on the right-hand side, in my opinion, is being linked. He scored 20 goals for them, been with them since 2021 off the top of my head, and is a decent winger. But I don't know if I believe/want this one. This is being reported from Turkish outlet called Aspor, and they're saying that Forest are interested in him. His valuation is about 20 million euros, which is about, what, 18 million pounds, something like that. And I just wonder, like, are we just collecting wingers right now if this report is true? Like, do we need another one? We've just had Jota Silva come in. We got Elanga, who we didn't want to sell. And we've also got Sosa, who can play on the right-hand side, as well as technically De Silva. And you could argue Nico Williams could play in that position. Do we need another right winger? Or is this maybe a hint about what's going to happen to Elanga's future? We've heard reports that Newcastle will be back in for him in January to try and secure his services. But again, how true that is, we don't yet know. This is a lot of speculation going on right now in the world of the Premier League and football links. Look, I'm not saying Yilmaz is not a good player. I think he is decent. He's got good pace about him, quite skillful, gets some goals and gets decent assists as well. Obviously, as Ant would say, it's in a farmers league in the Turkish league. I just don't understand the logic on this one. And therefore, I'm going to refrain from commenting on whether I think it's true or not. I've not heard if it is or not, so I can't confirm anyway. But just get down in the comments below. Is there any logic in this one? The only thing I can think of is that maybe there's some strength in the Elanga rumours going to Newcastle in January. But what do you guys think? Do you like Yilmaz? And would you be prepared to lose Elanga to make this swap deal if you like? Get your thoughts in down below. And that brings you up to date with your latest Forest news. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. Go grab your Cristiano Woodinho tickets for the signed framed shirt. Good luck, Jessica, and we'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.